the door to value. It is you being yourself with a healed inner child, as we like to call it, the inner child adult. And that's AKA the functional adult. And that is a 5D mystic or 5D functional adult. And that's because we have integrity like Jesus taught us. So we know how to forgive. We are not needing the therapist. We are mindfully living as a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. You come to an empowered woman's podcast, YouTube channel, you're going to meet what it actually is to dance that dance of life and the love life. So it's a I forgive because not I forgave. No, actually, it's something different called one, I have a love affair. I don't need it to be with any particular person. I, in fact, have a love affair with life itself because God gave me the gift. And then I also know about this one second. I want to read it to you because this one's really fun. So, one, life is a bluff until you learn how to play it. And how do we learn to play it? Well, anyone know the Beatles? Love, 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 na 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 na. Love, 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 na 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 na. Love, love, love. It's easy. So I'm bad at singing, but there's nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. So people who have a found compass, we leave alone the people who don't have an open heart. That means the people who don't know that they are the door to value because they don't have the healing that Jesus has provided to every one of us who does walk a restorative embodiment, self-aware, unconsciously loving, accountable, and regulating life. People who don't go around saying, we're going to shame humanity for being imperfect. No, there's nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. So you are that value to your own self every day. And people who walk away from the emotional stuff that doesn't serve them with the 5D mystics, it's because we process mindfully or the 5D functional adult. So we don't call our emotions laundry, okay? And that's why our hanged man is not where we're paused. We're not paused at all. We actively know how to work through devastation by being ordinary and having expertise with darkness. Those are the lovely cards that we have read before. And I will remind anyone that the lovely cloak of Christ is an honor. I love to have learned of him as a teenager. He is the reason why I know what love is all about. And he's also the reason, plus God, why I know what it means to be humble, and that people that do the devastation stuff, excessive pride, presumption, greed, they look very pretty in their fancy suits, eagerness for conquest as they wield their 7 to 14 manipulative words, and the people who want to shame humanity follow them. And they even think that they represent God, the vengeful God. I didn't get taught that. Christianity doesn't teach you the vengeful anything. We actively know how to forgive and repent, and that means no casting of stones. So being ordinary, very easy again for a 5D mystic. That's why we don't confuse that energetic sphere. Our brothers and sisters, it's all people. Some will choose to stay within the shame, and it's a shame, blame, fault, revenge game. It's quite unnecessary, but they don't want the therapist to get out of the toxic relationship. So they actively, again, with lust, they confuse lust, think it's love, and then they end up finding themselves in unfortunate stromboli relationships, and then they wonder why. And they actively, if they awaken to their true value with the hanged man, and so they find out, oh, look, my ego, my left mode was actively doing shit. That's not who I am. I have a right mode too. I have an inner child. Let me communicate effectively with myself and spirit. And that's when they're going to know what it means to actually put the work into manifesting. And that's because their mind, their active masculine, will become finally theirs because they're beginning to have bilateral integration. And that means a healed inner child. So they're learning how to see themselves, soothe their nervous system, be safe to be their self, and then secure. And that's when they begin to know what I'm talking to you about, which is your value, being yourself. So we don't shame anyone. Nobody shames a human being who didn't get lucky. We did. We have a family. It's called securely attached people. And we know hermit doesn't mean we lose people. No, hermit actively is when I am with my own brain as my own hierophant, thinking and feeling things as a person who does not get confused or lost. I know exactly what the Seven of Cups is because I have an inner child adult. When I'm in my thinking brain, I'm not in a prison. The people who are in prison, they don't know what it means to love because they don't believe that love lasts forever. They don't believe in putting in the work with people because they don't believe in talking to people because they don't want to do emotions with people. They actively are in a safety behavior. Okay, so as long as a person doesn't find value in being their self and they don't know how to be their self with you, being ordinary. Her name means mother. She is depicted as a woman wearing a golden headdress in the likeness of a vulture. Mut is the mother of all things and is associated with the primordial waters of the god Nun, from whom everything in the world was born. She symbolizes permanent creation and she establishes the conservation of things. Mut will offer you her necessary presence if you put your whole heart into working to give benefit and advantage to your home and your family. You will only facilitate the production and increase of wealth, especially material goods, by maintaining respectful and regular behavior on a daily basis through enthusiasm and dedication. The people who don't like to be ordinary, they actively have shame, and that's why they need to be special, and that's why they have people who are their 7 to 14 charming. And they actively are also the opposing energies, and they don't return. So the risk of no return happens, and that's because the actual opposing energies balance each other out. And so we know about this journey of Apophis and the son of, or the sun god Ra, and again, dark and dusk. So it's a play of energies. It's not evil or good. But the ones who are from 3D, 4D, that's why they demonize people and they still want to use the Lucifer word and all that. So they actively don't enjoy, again, that spirituality and sciences come together, that Christian spirituality enjoys people because we know the Holy Spirit and spiritual gifts are all one and the same. We don't go and disrespect yoga people and say that demons come out of you because of yoga, because we know about Stephen Porges and Peter Levine and all the smart attachment trauma researchers. Stephen Porges informs you he's the polyvagal theory doctor. He's still working on proving his theory, so we need to wait. And he is sharing how yoga is a ventral vagal portfolio of toning exercises. The reason why meditation isn't good for all people is because they want to first go with their dysregulated and modulated embodied self to a somatics therapist and sensory motor so that they can first figure out where they're at and then get out of the hellhole that is self-loathing and all of it. So that's why it's a step-by-step. They need the will to heal. Leave them alone if they don't want to. Again, they will actively disengage from any heart-to-heart conversation. They don't have value in being their healed inner child adult with another person. And they won't find value in you being yourself. You'll actively be told, how dare you be yourself? No, not that way. But they actively make it very clear because you'll notice. You know how you know? Again, you'll have a love affair with the people who love you just the way you are. Every time you check the time, remember, life is ticking away. Time is to focus on what is truly worthwhile, or time to focus on what is truly worthwhile. And so with that, let me see if I can give you some other beautiful quotes. I won't. I actually will continue with this. When you know how to express yourself, that's when you'll know balance. And that's because you are sensual, not in a way of any body stuff. The people who always think of the body, they have yet to gain their entire inner child adult. And what I should say is they don't yet have a full relationship with this lovely sphere of bliss. Okay, so when you are a person who knows of bliss your entire life, I got it introduced with God and Jesus. And so me and anything that is related to Maria gets shared from my open heart. So when I'm sharing with you who I am, I'm not just sharing my, I'm actively giving you a piece, if you will, but you're giving me a piece of you too, even if you're not participating. So what I'm trying to say is the exchange is not something small. And you know, it reminds me of Sadhguru. He talks about this thing. And remember, I'm polyamory, so it's not about loving one person, but actively you will have the capacity to be quite picky of who you will choose, and that's not because you're a snob. If I can't be myself with you, I'm not going to enjoy myself. That's it. I am valuable just the way I am, and if you love me, you will actively find me just as valuable. Your amygdala will. The minute your amygdala doesn't, it's okay. It's not a match, not personal. Okay, so that's how it works. It works that you know who you are and how your value is not about my skin, what I look like. Actively, we're all going to get older and ugly. I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't think it'll be ugly. It'll be weird. It'll be real. It'll be weird to see me with wrinkles. I already have them, so I'm just saying. I actively think of it as weird, but I like to accept that I age. In fact, I find it really ugly to start getting a neck that goes yucky, and then, you know, I'm just saying. So, and it's not yucky. At the end of the day, the Western society has created something horrible, in my personal opinion, but that's where I do know of people who feel really good about the Barbie face and or Ken face or whatever we call it for. So actively, no, you're gonna love me for the quirkiness, and that's the part of what love is. It's action oriented, and the world is our oyster. It's not something we're going to go crapping about, because love is about us lifting each other up. And when you have healthy self worth, it's because you know your inner child adult. And so here's why, even if you don't have money, with you and the person that makes you smile and you and your heart, you're not going to give a shit about money. You're going to make money. It's not because we don't want to. The whole, I love how some people, you don't want to make money because you're spiritual people. That's not it. Some of us know actively how to manifest at all times. What I'm trying to say is, you are the value when you wake up in the morning. Only you can have this lovely bliss if you have it. And if you don't, it's really sad, because you won't know what love is at all until you can sit with yourself and with life. And then you can think of not only the fact that you got to wake up today, but that your loved ones got to wake up. And then hopefully, you know, they can keep on waking up. And again and again and again, that love affair with life, it's mindful living. I mean, I see people, I don't want it. I want life now. I don't want to do personal development. The Zen master with laundry, that just makes me laugh because he's a Zen master. So when you have an open heart, the strategy is very easy because you are actively appreciative of every day, and then you already have something you're wanting to do. You have a clear mind because your inner child adult is leading you. It's because meaningful is here and here. And then you share it. That's what I was saying. So your body is the least of your interest with anyone. You're actively going to appreciate the connections that come your way because you already appreciate you, and then you'll appreciate sharing. And what's sad is that people don't actually appreciate you for who you are sometimes. But it's okay, because that tells you that they don't appreciate them. And they learned that. They learned about not appreciating from their own community. So we keep on knowing that the value to ourselves is being ourselves. When you're a healed inner child adult, you get to be your yin yang, and you get to enjoy a community of people who have healthy self-worth. These are men and women and theys. I don't know theys, but they know how to talk to you with their emotions, and they know how to talk to you with their thoughts, and that's why there's a door to happiness. There is not any of that, it's hard work. No. The contract is no envy, no jealousy, no spite. People who still have envy, they can work with a therapist and get out of it, and they actively can balance it out. Trauma is healable. So it's only when a person wants to root in their healthy self-worth that they will walk away from any of that which is not a conscious, loving relationship. And so in that moment, you make a decision and you open yourself up to true love, because you've chosen yourself, you've chosen love, you've chosen the one who will actively say, you are beautiful because everything you do makes me smile. And even when we're blue, we get to find that door to abundance. Because, like Sadhguru shares, humbug, no humbug, nope. If you're having a bad day, you know how to talk to me, not silence yourself, not do any of maladaptive child behavior, not do any of projection. The people who don't know how to talk, they don't know how to regulate their nervous system. Let them go to therapy first, then you'll know. So, securely attached people know how to allow themselves to consistently be that magic in the mirror. For my 5D mystics, you know how to transmute, expand, and in fact, the journey is always one that involves our active social engagement system. So, you're here and you're using the left and right. The mindful living with mind sight, you have a relationship with your body. There's no clinical dissociation, none of this, okay? Just making sure you understand. So, masterclass, one-to-one mentorship, inner growth mindset, it's for people who want to do emotional and mental activities. And then you get to hear my fun stories of how we're not tied up at all. None of us. We actively have fun. So, here's what I can tell you about my temple. I love the path that I get to walk on. When we feel tied up, we know we're not. And we're like, okay, where am I expanding? I get to choose what I want in my caring connections. Well, I know exactly where I'm headed. I'm headed for the one who says, you're beautiful, not the one who deceives. Nope, they're going to say, you're beautiful just the way you are, and I have an offer for you. What's the offer? Are you sure? This card, the people who believe in bad people, they're always reading it as somebody who's deceiving you. The only people that deceive people are the same ones who deceive themselves. And when you meet them, you'll know who they are because they care more about this than they care about offering you something to build. And that will be primarily because they won't be looking at you with their heart and they won't be building with you. So you'll know. Once they want to build, you'll know because they will actively take every day steps to build cornucopia. So the one thing that a woman and a man and a they who has the capacity to be wholeness, they don't get confused by illusions. They don't feel that victory is a one person or another person. That's why with our twin flame and flames and our soulmates, we don't have the let's change up their words and say that there's a divine counterpart, that there's a stage, and that there's this and there's no. We know about our lovely feminine, our masculine. The victory is always being able to come tomorrow, wake up, and then do it all over again. It's why the securely attached people are found boring by the ones who don't have secure attachment. I would say that the coaches should really do better at explaining secure attachment is fun because this storm doesn't mean anything devastating to me because my crown is working really great. And I get to be in touch with Archangel Uriel, and more than just that. I'm always aligned. The feminine doesn't get a storm that they won't know how to weather. And we actively don't waste time in ruminating. And we will not because it's very easy to know what a broken heart is. It will be, I will try to figure out what's going on. You can be a soulmate, a twin flame. If I've invested my time in you in any way, shape, or form where we got romantic, I'm going to get clear before I move forward. The minute that you make it clear, it's okay because I got this. This is your solar plexus and it's open for a feminine because I'm also open here. So you didn't break anything. It can be tears, can be a lot of things. You will be healed the minute that it starts because you're processing what are emotions. It's not post-traumatic. Post-traumatic for people who have trauma when they deal with sadness, anger, what else? Fear, happiness, surprise, and disgust. If you have mindful living, it's because you have the capacity to uphold that third eye and you don't get anxious. Actually, the neuroscientists explain when we are in selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness, richness, when we're in the flow state. So the main modules of the inner growth mindset, they're very basic because I didn't have the body element yet, but they work with your thoughts and your emotions. And we deal with uncertainties, unexpecteds, and unwanteds from within you while going with the flow. So I've known the flow state my entire life. That's why I'm okay with sitting in silence. And I actively had some questions about it, but I got those answers. So while I do have panic attacks, when I'm in my third eye, I'm not in anxiety. I'm actively cerebral in a way of it being soft. So my emotions are soft and my thoughts are soft. When we are in a flow state, the neuroscientists explained to me what all those stages are, which made me understand the panic attacks and the light body expansion. So effortlessness is the moment of you're switching up before you get to richness, and that's where things take place. So thinking with our lovely masculine is easy because we have an open heart, because we're also feminine, and that can be a woman or a man. Okay, so when you know that you are the value of you, it's because you're finally ready to also be the provider in a tangible way. And that is what makes a feminine with their own masculine whole. We don't need anybody. Our life and our love affair is with being able to come and bring to people on our lovely planet family, love, being able to get to the depth of emotions. That's what mindful living is all about, and true spirituality. So it's not a laundry basket Zen master. We actively don't feel imprisoned when we're getting to process emotions, which last 90 seconds for a brain that uses the prefrontal cortex. And for a person who's had practice, I can tell you it's not hard. The only people who make it hard or sound hard are the same ones who say, I want it, Maria. I want life now. Well, you can try it. It's called you got emotions. So when somebody loves you, they will love you for who you are. When you love you for who you are, you'll always know no change because you're completely that self with the verb. So Dr. Daniel Siegel taught me about how our self is a verb. I was like, okay, now I know why I use the word we. It's not only the guides, and I actually have two people, or I should say, I don't focus in on the energy, but I have my two. It's God, although I try not to use that word, but source is God. I've always had my relationship. And Jesus. Jesus is Jesus. I love you, said Guru. You come after Jesus. Sorry. So, yeah, those are my two. But if I wanted to hone in, there are times where we do have people visiting, and I've made contact. We'll save that for another episode in a little bit. I'll get to share with you that so you can hear some funny stories. Again, you are the value to this world, and the value of you is when you're a healed inner child adult, and then you can come join us, and we can help other people that are healing. The ones who get called names, I mean, for me as a mystic, I'm fine with them talking about us as Lucifer. I want to be there for people who are healing their trauma, like the narcissists, the borderlines, the sociopaths, the psychopaths. They don't get welcomed by all people because there's a lot of people that wield their mouths with gender stereotypes and other stereotypes, and there's just so many. So we want to create a group that can be here. And to be here means, though, you can be unconditionally loving, because it isn't a small feat for a person who's going to be working to get out of that. I get to see Kylie, and she didn't get accepted back by all her people, and she understands why, and I can understand too, because we've all met people that have treated those of us who are kind with unkindness, but nobody chooses their trauma. So as long as you can understand how to love like Jesus taught us, then you're a person who can be in your safe haven, secure base, and in your regulated nervous system, and you could offer the feminine, that is the secure attachment figure that a human being will never have had, and you give them the opportunity to actually experience something different in their survival brain mode. So let's end with Bezel. That way you can understand. Bezel van der Kolk, MD. Trauma sits in your automatic reactions and your dispositions and how you interpret the world. So in order to really rewire those automatic perceptions, you need to have deep experiences that, for your survival brain, contradicts how you are now disposed to think. And when people think in split and black and white thinking, they can make a person who they put on a pedestal out to be a demon, and then they will actively continue to do that because they're so used to seeing neutral faces as bad, not believing in kindness, actively having self-loathing, so they got family in the head stories going on, And yeah, their actual thinking is not something that allows for them to see kindness, because unless they become aware of their self and then they go and heal, they won't become aware that they're treating a kind person with unkindness and with what's the word, that you don't believe in love and kind people, and you're insulting a human being just because they're being nice to you. Reminds me of all those wise stories that I see people always forgetting, and they want to use the word Jesus. So, of course, all of us know about wanting to be physically safe. However, I had this man in Sadhguru's class argue about lifting a poor lady from the floor. Now, I'm a 4'9" woman. There are many things that I was not able to do in moments, but I will know that I would try to get an old woman up from the floor, I think. I mean, if she looks safe, that's the part. But I wouldn't be arguing with a guru about not wanting to lift her up while I'm in class, which is what this man was doing. Actively not realizing that responding means you have an opportunity to make a conscious choice of what to do, and that a poor woman's on the floor. You know what I mean? So we are in times that are definitely challenging, but there's no reason for a lot of what we see out there of unkindness. Actively, we have human beings yelling at each other for political beliefs, mystics talking about other mystics because we're deviated from their ancient ways. It's quite fascinating, to say the least. I never thought I would see grown ups, but now I know they're not grown ups. So, grown ups are people who have healthy self worth, and they actively have their inner child adult. They know that they are the value. So we each are value. So we can help people to get that trauma healed. Learn to dance with us. Let's enjoy love. We'll be back shortly. Have a good one.